Skype casting from Fort Worth, Texas, back to La Jolla, California. We are joined by the happy head coach of the UCSD baseball team, Dan O'Brien. And Coach, let's just start by describing your feelings. You went to UCSD, you played baseball for UCSD, you've been the head coach at UCSD for a few years now. The feeling of leading the team to a place they've never been before, the Division II College World Series.
Yeah, it's very rewarding. I'd be lying if I didn't say I was thrilled. This is and it's been so crazy from the last pitch of that game up until now. You know, all the organization and getting the travel and everything else, and I haven't had a ton of time to really sit back and enjoy it. But I just can't be happier for. I mean, not only obviously first and foremost our players who have worked their tails off to get there, but just all the alumni, the athletic department, the guys I played with, the guys who played for me, the older guys when I was a player who are the alumni. It's just that the program's a big family, and so I cannot. I mean, obviously your inbox blows up and you get text messages all over the place, and some people be overwhelmed by it, but I am just I'm just very proud. I mean, there's just a lot of pride. I guess that's the word I would use.
Well, we're happy you're spending some of that busy calendar. You're marking out a little time for us right here, Coach. And let me start with this. When we were recording Triton Talk last week on campus, not to throw your AD under the bus, but your athletic director, Earl Edwards, walked by right before we hit record and said, "Oh, by the way, I already booked my tickets for Cary, North Carolina."
He wasn't alone. Garrett Imeson, our senior, who broke the record for school, hits in the season. His parents also bought tickets. Garrett Imeson, our senior team captain, and basically said, "Hey, look, I just tell you right now, we're going there." I didn't acknowledge any of that. I didn't have any conversations with anybody about it. We weren't gonna talk about Cary, North Carolina, other than it being my password on my email, which I probably shouldn't say since this is online. But Cary, North Carolina has been my password ever since I knew that's where the site was going to be, and we were focused on getting a dog pile out in the West region and heading out to the College World Series. So we're all pretty excited.
Yeah, and you come in to the West Regional as the #1 seed. You had gone through the CCAA conference tournament, and then two familiar CCAA foes were waiting for you there in the West Regional. I thought the path of the tournament was very interesting, and let's start with Game 1 of the Regional. You face off against Cal State Dominguez Hills, a team that you had beaten 2-1 when you matched up in the CCAA tournament. That winds up being a seesaw game. Tim Shibuya, your ace starter, has his worst start of the season, and the team comes from behind for an 11-10 victory. I know we've talked a lot this year about this team's resilience, Coach O'Brien, but boy, they had to show it to you in that game.
Yeah, and it's everything we talk about, it's everything we work on, it's everything we focus on. Is that and a lot of coaches say this that adversity is inevitable and it's all about bouncing back as quickly as possible. A lot of coaches say it, and a lot of athletes hear it from coaches, but this team believes it. And the whole philosophy is if you do your job, you go out and do your job, and if you have a setback while you're doing your job, you can trust that someone else is going to pick you up. And Tim Shibuya had his first bad start of the year, and not only that, but he's had some starts where he's given up 2 runs on 3 hits, and we didn't give him the run support that he needed. But that day was different. I mean, he just didn't have his best day. He kept battling, but Dominguez is a good offensive team, and they kept grinding away at him, and our offense just bounced back. Every time they scored runs, we'd punch right back. And, it's the gutsiest win that I've ever been a part of as a coach. And this is really the gutsiest team I've ever had. So while I was excited, I certainly wasn't surprised, and I was just really proud of the guys that day.
That got you into the semifinals, into the winner's bracket. You dismantled the host team, Western Oregon, 18-3. The Bats were really swinging that day, and you roll into the region championship against Sonoma State, a team that you had defeated in the CCAA regional, and then you've got a 3-2 lead into the top of the 9th inning, 3 outs away from clinching the regional, and your closer, who's been outstanding this year, Guido Knudsen, gives up a 2-run homer to Chris Haycock, the shortstop for Sonoma State. You wind up losing that game 4-3. To be so close and then know that as a team that you have to come back the next day, play the same team in a 1-game winner-take-all scenario. How do you feel the team responded from the end of that game on Saturday to Sunday's game?
It's the same philosophy. It might have been the next day, but we punched back. I mean, that's the bottom line. I went and got the ball from Guido after he gave up the 2-run home run and then gave up another hit after that. So we went and got him, and we went to a new arm. And I got the ball from him. I told him, look, we're going to pick you up. So just get yourself ready for your next outing because you might throw tomorrow, and we're going to pick you up today. And, in the bottom of the inning, no one really talks about it, but we put runners on first and second, and we were a base hit away from tying that thing. And the week before, Guido had a tough outing against Sonoma, and we were down by 1 going to the bottom of the ninth. And we told him we were going to pick him up, and we scored 2 runs from him in the bottom of the inning. So, we punched back. We just did it the next day. And after the game, that's exactly what I told the guys. I mean, our punch back philosophy is not just on game day. It extends to the next day, and that's exactly what we did the next day. So, it's just a really resilient group, and adversity doesn't affect them. They just kind of get to the next play, the next pitch, the next game. They just do whatever they have to do to get it done after the adversity happens, and that's what makes them such a great team.
And we've now gotten to that next game, the game that was the clincher on Sunday, and people will look, I'm sure, at the final score, those who didn't follow the game, and go, oh, 12-4. Well, the Tritons just blew them out, and they cakewalked their way to the College World Series. No way. 4-4 game going into the top of the ninth inning. You were the visiting team for that game, so a ton of pressure. And, in fact, you brought back Tim Shibuya on short rest to pitch in relief in that game, and he really came through with 2 2/3 scoreless innings. You had to be proud of the way your ace bounced back.
I'm proud and once again, not surprised. There was no question on how he was going to throw. It was a matter of what point in the game we were going to bring him in, not whether or not we were going to do it or if he was going to throw well. It was just a matter of what point do we want to bring him in to shut this thing down. And what a great ball game too. It was 4-4. I think that if I'm not mistaken, the hits were evenly matched. I think it was 4-4. Each team had 9 hits, no errors. Every time we scored, they scored, and we always kind of set the tone, but they always answered right back. So we didn't get any shutdown innings from our pitcher, but we rebounded as an offense. And so, if you were watching that game and even the game before against Sonoma, you're catching some great ball games. So we get to the top of the ninth, and our guys, catch a little break, a great slash by Robert Sedin, opened it wide open, and then one of our 4-year seniors stepped up with the bases loaded and opened it wide open with a bases loaded double. And that's the way it was all day. That same senior, Tim Mort, threw out a huge runner at third base earlier in the game. A senior, Matt Cantelli, hit a 2-run home run. Every senior contributed in a big way, and it's just that's again another thing that makes this team so solid.
Well, you let me right into the next question, because Matt Cantelli, a kid who had such great success as a sophomore and is UCSD's all-time home run leader this year, I thought it was a little bit more of an up and down or a roller coaster for Matt Cantelli, but boy, he picked the exact right time to dial up the 2-run blast.
He did. He hit one against Western Oregon as well, which kind of got lost in the shuffle because we had such a big day. But he had a phenomenal weekend series, and all our guys are playing their best baseball at the right time. So regardless of how frustrating the year was for certain guys, Matt Cantelli right now is hitting 7th in our lineup. He's the all-time career leaders in home runs. Kellen Lee is hitting 8th, and he's got 12 home runs, which leads the team. So. And Tim Mort, who's a 4-year senior with a career .330 batting average, is hitting 9th. So there's a lot of reasons why this team has gotten as far as it has.
All right, let's look ahead now, Coach. You talked about this busy week of preparation, and just looking at it from the outside in, to me, what might be the toughest thing for a coaching staff is trying to scout the winners from 7 different regions around the country, teams that you really don't play, and D2 certainly a different situation in terms of getting video, getting information. What has that kind of collection process been like for the Triton staff?
It's been a busy couple days, without question. And we started not as soon as the game was over. We had the dog pile. We shook some hands, had some big hugs, said thanks to all the parents and alumni and friends that were there. Immediately got on the horn, started to figure out who we were going to play, what 7 other teams were going to be there. I'm on a couple of committees with the NCAA, so I have some relationships around the country, and there's a lot of good information out there. So we're as excited as we are to be there. We feel like this is a step that we expected, and we feel like there's still work to be done. So as a coaching staff, we're going to make sure that we are very well prepared for this weekend. And the 2 practices that we're going to have today and tomorrow here on campus are going to be the best of the year as far as we're concerned. Yeah, we've been working hard to get ready for this thing. We're not just going to go in and just kind of enjoy the journey and kind of be in awe by it. We're going after it like we got one more step to take.
Well, the fans of UCSD baseball, the NCAA will be providing a video feed from the Division II College World Series so we can all watch. But right here on 619sports.net, we will be covering this team throughout its run in Cary, North Carolina. Hopefully, Coach, we can get Marco Shadari's laptop locked up with Skype, and we can do some Skype casting with you from North Carolina as well as the World Series continues. But we'll wish you the very best of luck, and of course, we'll be recapping all the games right here on the website for the fans to enjoy. Best of luck and go get them. Let's hope there's another dog pile in your future.
That's what we're looking forward to. Thanks, Craig, and thanks for all your support. I appreciate it.